All right. We're somewhat close to the right time, I think. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Shapiro?
Here.
Trustee McGreal?
Here.
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Ryan?
Here.
Trustee Michaels?
Here.
Trustee Dwyer?
Here.
Mayor Kitching?
Here.
I have a quorum.
No mics.
We need to pro tem clerk. Somebody make a motion.
Making a motion to have Maria as pro tem for this evening's meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
We don't think they said we're going to order, Mayor. There was no mics.
Hang on. There you go.
So,
Motion and a second. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's that. If you would, then please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
Did she call the roll, or do we need to do that?
She called the roll.
Okay. I was reading.
Catch up.
Hey, that's
Officers' report. Started with myself this evening. I only have a couple of items. Our new Taco Bell on Pulaski is now open for business and operating, which we're happy to see that happen. And probably before the end of the week, our new Dunkin' Donuts on Pulaski will be opening and ready for business. So we've come a long way there. Clerk's report.
Okay, I have a request for approval to close the Village Hall at 12:30 p.m. on Friday, December 9th, 2016 for the annual employee holiday party. The party begins at 1 p.m. and the half-hour earlier closure is to allow the collections, clerical employees in the clerk's office and the water department to balance the day's collections before going to the party.
We have changed that date to the 16th because the 9th there is already a village activity.
Thank you.
I have a presentation of the minutes of the November 7th Committee of the Whole meeting. Presentation of the minutes of the November 7th Board meeting. I have a presentation of the FOIA report for October 2016. There were 29 FOIAs. And a presentation of the IDOT motor fuel tax allotment for October 2016 in the amount of $42,798.21. And that's all I have.
Attorney's report.
No report.
Engineer's report.
I have a request for approval of a resolution to make streets and highways by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code in a total amount of $125,000 from motor fuel tax funds for the 2016-17 general maintenance program and the dual driveway is
I know. I've been watching it every day. It's very nice too. Now, if they just finish the signaling, we'll be all good.
Thank you.
At this point, we've reached the public forum. Is there anyone here this evening who wishes to address this board on anything on our agenda? Moving along, standing committees. Finance, Trustee Shapiro.
Mayor, the first thing on my agenda is an action item, and the action item, the way it states, is a motion to determine the amount of proposed tax year 2016 aggregate property tax levy. We had a finance meeting last week to go over all the different aspects of where we're at. We've been actually hammering this out for months, back and forth, trying to figure out what we can do as trustees, first of all, to cut spending and bring in more revenue. And we're at this point right now that what we have to do is determine the amount of levy for our taxes for next year. We're not voting on that tonight, but we're determining the amount because Kent has to get it posted to be voted on the 5th of December. Two of the plans that we proposed are 5-year transitional plans. One of them raising the property tax levy at 12.5%, which is about 2% overall tax increase, and then 4.9% local increases for the next 4 years thereafter. And all this is, that's Plan A. Plan B is a 4.99 local property tax increase, with the 4.99 for every year thereafter, and along with that, a new electrical or natural gas tax, which has not been determined as far as the amount of that tax. And we're still gathering information on that, but that's something that does not have to be even voted on this evening, or actually not voted on for several months. That's something that we're going to have to do a little bit of research, because the surrounding suburbs are anywhere between roughly 0.25% to 2.5%, and it's about $3 for a homeowner and about $25 for a business. But we're in this dilemma because, again, this is our growing $104 million net retiree benefit liability, and we have to address it now, and the sooner we address it, the better off it'll be for everyone concerned. I'm thinking about, first of all, the residents, since I am a resident myself, and I hate like heck to raise taxes on anything, because it affects me as it affects everyone else in the room. But the longer we delay doing anything about it, down the road, the price for the homeowners and the residents will be threefold, fourfold. And now's the time to take a stab at it, one way, shape, or form. And the other reason we have to do this now is you have to consider all of the retirees for our police and our fire and our public works, the people that have been here all these years, and for us not to fund their pensions is just wrong. So, trustees, what's on the table for this evening are two proposals. There's a Plan A and a Plan B. I don't really know which way all the trustees are going towards, but that's why we're here, because I need to do this so we can actually make a motion, so Ken can actually get this posted. So if I can get some responses, I would definitely appreciate it.
Personally, I'd be more towards Plan B, the 4.99 are the two options.
Anybody else want to add to that poll, please?
One or the other, we have to do something, and it'll only get fixed with one of these plans. My only concern with Plan B is that as a utility tax, I think that we're dealing with too many unknowns as far as we don't know the percentage or what those dollar amounts generated will be. And I would hate to make it a wrong and either not address the debt sufficiently or make it too high and adversely affect people more than what we had to. So I'd be in favor of Plan A over B, but one or the other. And either way, it's left pocket for real estate tax, it's right pocket for utility tax. Either way, it still comes out of the same pant pocket. So one or the other. My choice would be Plan A, just for that purposes. I don't want to adversely affect people more so than what we were going to do anyhow.
Trustee Ryan?
I wasn't available for the last meeting, but I did mention at the meeting prior that before I'd ever agreed to a tax levy, I'd almost more be in favor of going back to see where the village could reduce its spending and, if necessary, amend our budget. Because I just hate to think we're always looking at the taxpayer, and maybe we need to show some good faith on the village side.
I think that we've done that already, and the problem is that no matter what, we're not going to make a $3 million cut.
And that's Trustee Ryan, that's part of the problem. Unfortunately, we can't bury our heads in the sand. We can't kick the can down the road. Something has to be done, and and we can cut and cut and cut and reduce the police force to half, reduce the fire department to half. We can do a lot of things. It's still not going to solve this problem.
Did we not know this was happening prior to right now? I mean,
We
couldn't
should
we have
should
done
have all known as
something?
trustees.
Couldn't we have done something before having to raise
This-
taxes again?
This is a problem that was brought on from when this village was set up years and years and years ago, and how the pension plans were set up. It's no different than this municipality to any other municipality.
I think it is.
No, it's not.
I do think it is.
Just like the city of Chicago. $800 million.
Right.
So, this is nothing new. In fact, Kent just came from a meeting, and you can shed some light on that, Kent. And according to the 15 or 16 surrounding communities that you were sitting at a table with, we were in the best shape of the 15 or 16. So, trustee, I don't know where you're getting your information from, but maybe you should start reading the paper more.
In terms of the police pensions, the fire pensions, the IMRF pensions, all of the pension stuff have been determined at the state level. So that's something that every municipality across the state has to face in the same proportions. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
See, that's what you get for telling me I start reading
Might
the
be a
newspaper.
sign, yeah.
Well, we just figured out who the Grinch is.
I don't know if that was Plan A or Plan B. In terms of a lot of municipalities are facing this. I know Aurora's been facing worse. I know Chicago's been facing worse. When I went to the Illinois Municipal Treasurers Institute, there was tons of people. I mean, they're all struggling with the same stuff, and the ones, to use your metaphor, putting your head in the sand. The problem with pushing it off, which is what most of these municipalities and the state of Illinois, for instance, have done for decades, is that the bill just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's like the old, when your math teacher taught you x squared and it starts going up like this. The more you can do now, it's not going to solve it. What we're not looking is eliminating the debt. What we're looking at is trying to, in 5 years, eliminate the deficit, what we're supposed to put forth every year for 5 years. After that, it's still going to take 30 years to chip away at this. So what we're looking at is trying to come up with a 35-year plan to solve this problem. This isn't all this year. This is a little bit and a little bit. And the more that you do now, the more you're going to have money that's going to be invested. And investment returns are the only things that are going to take the pressure off of the taxpayers. So the earlier you can get monies in to get investment returns, it's the only thing that's going to take it off the taxpayers. The bill is going to be due, and your only chance is to actually have some investment returns. So the more you can do early on, the better off you are, and the communities that have decided to continue to ignore this problem are going to have even bigger problems. Now, we've discussed this probably in a dozen meetings this year. In January and February, we had very large public hearings where this room was a lot more crowded on each of those than it is here. We've been discussing this all year, and I know now's the time for some of the big decisions, but there have been decisions along the way where we've been cutting or we've been trying to save things in order to reduce it. The numbers that we're looking at now are less than they were a month ago because we have been finding some monies that we've said we're going to put this away or we're going to put that away, trying desperately to find anywhere we can to reduce it. So I think we're in a better place than we were a couple months ago when we were talking about this. I know it's still not a great place.
And what does that mean, finding monies?
Well, we have, for instance, post-65 retirees. Tomorrow there's going to be meetings. They're going to move to a new plan. Right now they're on our current plan. That is an expensive plan. We found a way to give them a plan with the same benefits at a lower cost, and they're going to both benefit, and the village is going to benefit. What we've said is that those savings is going to be devoted towards retiree benefits. When the TIF expires, TIF 1 expires, we're going to have some additional revenue, not an increase in anybody's property taxes, but that additional revenue, because the TIF has expired, won't be coming into the TIF. That will be starting in 2018. Those monies would be devoted. So it's trying to find areas like these where we can find monies without raising any additional taxes to say there's some savings here or we're cutting here. And those types of things where they're commitments, but those commitments, we were talking about a 14% as recently as a month ago. Those commitments actually reduce the amount that go towards property taxes.
And some of the other things that we've already the board has already done. That's the savings in the refuse, the home rule sales tax, just to name a few. So the refinancing of the bonds, anything we can do that can lower this amount. I think the board has done a tremendous job of doing that, but it's still not enough.
And if you permit me, some of it we're talking about savings. The savings, we've gotten to the point, if this was done 30 years ago, savings alone probably could have made it up, but we're past that. There isn't, to Trustee DeZell's point, there isn't enough in savings in cutting without cutting, say, 50% of police, 50% of fire, 50% of all the departments, frankly. There just isn't enough there. It's going to be a combination of both. Part of when you're committing monies for savings, you're committing those types of monies that Trustee Shapiro just mentioned or that I just mentioned. What you're doing is making it very difficult at budget time. And the other thing is that these increases we're talking about are going towards retiree benefits. So that means that there's no increase towards operations. But costs do increase over time. So what we're doing is, when we're talking about we need to cut even further towards savings in the budget, that is going to happen. It's going to happen because we're having to devote these revenues and these savings back to the retiree benefits, and that's going to put a bit of a stranglehold on the budget at budget time. Budget time, if you guys recall, the last few years have been getting tougher. This next year is going to be even tougher because there will be no increase in operational costs that isn't going towards retiree benefits from the property taxes, as well as some of these others that we've now committed. So there is going to be yet more cuts out of the budget in order to make things work. Again, these are benefits. People for the police pension, for instance, is 35% funded. Now I know we all know in Illinois pensions that are that funded, but outside of Illinois, people would just be absolutely shocked to hear of any pension plan that funded. And that's getting to the point where you have to say, if somebody works here a whole career, is there going to be enough money to give them the benefits that they've been promised by the state and by more directly by the village, but dictated by the state? Are they going to actually get those benefits in retirement? It's low enough. You have to start asking that question. And so I don't think that was anyone's intent when these people worked those years, when the boards and your predecessors all said, we're going to hire police officers. I don't think it was anyone's intent that there could be questionable on that. Same with the health care promises that were made. So this helps for the actives and the retirees to make sure that there's enough for the promises that have been made. And the more we chip away at this thing, the more we have investment returns taking the burden off of the taxpayers.
Kent, of the two scenarios here, which would you think would work better?
They're going to come out very similar in dollar amounts. I would assume a 4.99s are going to be more favorable to the board, but I'm curious as to the answer to that. The reason is that doesn't trigger any mandatory truth in taxation. We will still have truth in taxation hearings because people should have a right to, and it's not required if 4.99 happens, but people should have an opportunity to weigh in and talk about these issues. And so last year we instituted truth in taxation, even though it wasn't required, just because it's a best practice. With regards to the electricity and the natural gas taxes. That is something that doesn't have to be decided tonight. The modeling, Trustee Dizelle referenced that. That comes from the Finance Committee. The modeling for that has proven to be very difficult because we don't know how much electricity and how much gas people use, nor is it easy to get to. So what we've done is we've polled a lot of municipalities, and we just haven't gotten the data in order to be able to model that better. So we'd probably push that off a little bit until we can get better modeling for that. But I think that that's going to be spread out pretty evenly between the businesses and the residents. And the 4.99 with those taxes, my guess is it's going to have a less of a burden on the households, even though it's going to bring in the similar dollar amounts.
Trustee, would you like to make your motion?
Well, I still haven't heard from Trustee McGreal.
Well, I don't favor either option. I agree that we need to do something sooner than later. This didn't happen overnight, like you said. It's been a problem for a long time, and I really do feel, with all of our meetings that we've had too, that we can tighten the belt on the budget side, on the village's side first, before I'll go to the taxpayers and increase taxes. So I would like to re-examine the budget, and before I would do anything with that.
Do you have any solutions to paying off the $104 million?
I said we have to address it, but I think we have to address it on our end first with a little more belt tightening and then decide what to go. We have to do something, I agree.
Well, my motion for the action item is a motion to determine the amount of proposed tax of 2016, the aggregate property tax. I'm going to make a motion to go with Plan B.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGreal?
No.
Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
No.
Trustee Michaels?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
No.
Mayor Kitching?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on my agenda, I have a request for the approval of an ordinance amending ordinance number 2016-7-2 of the Village of Alsip entitled the FY17, May 1st, 2016, April 30th, 2017 Annual Appropriation Ordinance. Kent, that was just a matter of readjusting some of the stuff that was in the line items?
Yeah, with one exception. When we were going back and forth on the budget, there was a line item that I actually missed. We were working back and forth for dispatchers' salaries, and I was working with my intern, and there was something lost in the communication. So there was something that was discussed in the budget in terms of making sure we had the salaries, all the salaries of the dispatchers in there. It was discussed, and it didn't end up in there, so that's the exception.
Okay. Next,
So
I have a...
I'm sorry, but you're talking the $325,000?
Yes. It didn't get, we talked about it when we were going through it, but I didn't actually get it in the budget. It was just lost in my communication with my intern at the time.
And Kent, it says here for the Pulaski TIF, they were, where it says original budget, it's blank. Is that what you're talking about? It's blank on both on this, and then it's got 50,000 added in and 525.
There was no dollars budget.
So there were no, but there were in the budget that was passed.
Yeah, hold on just a second. I apologize. Did you get to that page? Okay.
Let me see that for a second.
Okay, so we are fire, road and bridge.
It wasn't in there either. The other half, that's the thing that Karen did.
But the Pulaski TIF, is that what you're referring to? The Pulaski TIF and the
Pulaski
911 fund?
TIF,
The 911.
professional services and public works construction.
Yeah, so those it wasn't that there was no money in Pulaski TIF and no money in the 911 funds. there was no money in those particular line items. So the 911 fund, for instance, that's the one I just mentioned. That should have been there. That was actually discussed at the time, but I didn't get that in there. The public works construction on the Pulaski TIF it says Pulaski TIF, but it shouldn't. 220. The count number's right. 225 is not Pulaski.
It's 226.
It's 226.
So
is
that's an
Pulaski.
error.
It's 225 is the correct number. It shouldn't say Pulaski TIF. It should say TIF 1. And what the reason those two lines were zero professional services is actually engineering, public works construction. We're talking Deer Park and Arbor Glen here. So that's why those were zeros before.
But they weren't zeros in the budget that was passed.
In the 225, they were zeros. They weren't in the Pulaski TIF. So in 220, in the, it shouldn't say Pulaski TIF for Department Fund. Everything else there is correct. 225 is actually TIF 1, and there were zeros in TIF 1. And so subsequent to us passing the budget, the board said that they wanted, had the discussion and said that we wanted to resurface the roads in Deer Park and Arbor Glen, and that's why those had been zeros. And at this point, since you guys have made that motion and passed it, we just wanted to get that in the budget.
So the 225, the only one I see listed there is for $6 million? Is that what the TIF?
Right, and with the 225, we didn't know where we were going to be, so there was some flexibility in terms of the budgeting, but now we know of a very specific project, and we wanted to make sure that that project was put into the budget.
So it's not listed on here with the 225?
The 225, where it says Pulaski TIF, it should say TIF 1, and that's the Deer Park and Arbor Glen on the supplemental.
And then there was nothing put in for the 911 fund for dispatch sale?
Correct. And on the 911 fund, again, I said that one was a mistake. We were talking about that up to the very end during that was one of the last things we were talking about. And as we worked through that at the budget hearings, I apparently didn't convey it properly, or he didn't hear it somewhere. It was lost. That number was decided on, but that's not what ended up in the final budget. So it's just a matter of making sure that we're paying the dispatchers.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yep, I agree. They've been paid, but we need to make sure that the budget.
In there.
Right. We need to make sure that the budget accurately reflects what had been discussed.
Any other questions? Next, I have the request for approval of an ordinance authorizing the sale and/or disposal of personal property owned by the Village of Alsip. All of this stuff is things that we've already voted on already. This is just putting into the ordinance. Next, I have a request for the approval of a list of payroll dated for November 11th, 2016 as follows. Under the earnings, I have $445,419.14, and minus the voluntary employee deduction and taxes of $160,881.39, for a net payroll of $284,537.75. Next, I have a request for the approval of accounts payable dated November 21st, 2016 as follows. Under corporate, $520,082.64. Under road and bridge, $12,116.61. Motor fuel tax, $5,261.07. The 911, $20,167.50. The Pulaski Corridor TIF, $4,061.44. Waterworks, $779,060.80, for a grand total of all funds of $1,340,750.06. Next, I have the presentation of the minutes of the August 22nd, 2016 Finance Committee meeting, the presentation of the minutes of the October 10th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting, the presentation of the minutes of the October 24th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting, and the presentation of the minutes of the November 14th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting. And Mayor, that is all I have from Finance.
That's enough.
Thank you. No more briefs?
Fire, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and timesheets and a presentation of the October monthly activity report. This report runs from 10/1/16 to 10/31/16. Structure fires were 2, vehicle fires were 1, total fires for the month was 3. Emergency medical treatment calls were 178 for total rescue calls of 178. Total false calls for the month were 33. Total calls for the month were 267. Total fire dollar loss and total dollar loss was $204,000. Next, I have a request for approval of the first half holiday pay in the amount of $41,596.56. Request to approve the first half of the shift commander and assistant shift commander differential pay of $2,500, and a request to approve the annual educational stipend pay of $8,640. That's all I have on the fire.
Police, Trustee Shapiro.
Mayor, other than the normal list of bills and timesheets, I have the presentation of the October monthly activity report. That's for police and for health. One thing of note on the health department, our health inspector, Linda Gabella, did 46 total inspections for the month. That's amazing, outstanding. I also, for the patrol area handled 2,928 calls, did 658 citations and 139 arrests. And one more item of note, Officer Chad Resney and his K-9 partner Eddie participated in the K-9 Olympics in Lafayette, Indiana. The K-9 teams competed against others from Canada, Brazil, U.S. Secret Service, the Department of Defense, as well as numerous other teams from local and state federal law enforcement agencies. The competition was based on drug detection, explosion detection, building searches, obedience, speed, and open area searches. Out of 80 teams that participated, Officer Resney and K-9 Eddie finished 7th overall. And number one amongst all local police departments. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Way to go, Eddie.
I know I've said this before, I'd really like to promote K-9 Eddie, but I can't do that because then he'd outrank his handler.
Next, Mayor, I have a request for the approval to hire a part-time community service officer. Trustees, that's just bringing us back up to 4. We were down to 3, we're back up to 4, so. And that is all I had from police.
Public Works, Trustee Dwyer.
Mike Frater has a presentation regarding the retirement of Steve Martinez of our Public Works Department. Steve has worked for the Village of Alsip for 36 years.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Steve, like you said, he's been with Public Works for over 36 years. He's been a tremendous asset. We're losing very valuable experience and knowledge from Public Works upon his retirement. I prepared a letter here. Steve, I would like to personally congratulate you on your retirement as foreman of the Alsip Public Works Department. You have served the Village of Alsip and our residents for over 36 years. I know we will all come to appreciate you even more when we try to fill the void that you will leave. On the occasion of your retirement, we all want to thank you for your many years of great leadership, unsurpassed efficiency, and excellence. Everyone agrees that you possess a rare combination of vision, fairness, and understanding. You have been a mentor to all of us. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude of the support you have offered me over the years. We have shared a wonderful work relationship as well as friendship. All of your support has made working here an enjoyable and rewarding experience. I thank you for all you have done and all you have taught us, and send our very best wishes for a happy retirement. I'd also like to present this plaque, Steve, in all his years of service. It says, "Congratulations on your retirement, Steve Martinez, and appreciation and with gratitude for over 36 years of service to the Village of Alsip Public Works Department. You will be missed. August 11th, 1980 to November 29th, 2016.
We stood up for the first one.
So bad.
Everyone with the village was great. I mean, I met so many different people, from working with the village, residents, everything else. I don't know, I get choked up. I just wish one person was here next to Lucille.
Aww.
Yeah. I always told her I wanted to retire with Lucille. I met a bunch of great people. I mean, all people I've worked with, like I said, through the village, the Public Works Department, Police Department, Fire Department, Water Department, Clerk's Office, Building Department, everybody. Bunch of good friends, bunch of good people. I got a lot of good people working here. We'll stick together. Bunch of good people. Let's keep this community going. Thank you very much.
And that's all I have under Public Works.
Building, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and timesheets and a request for approval from Little Man Lodging to provide a Christmas tree lot at Holy Cross Lutheran Church at 4041 West 120th Street from December 1st, 2016 to December 23rd, 2016, from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. That's all I have under building.
Sewer and Water, Trustee Dizelle.
Presentation of list of bills and the employee time records. That's all I have, Mayor.
License, Trustee Ryan.
Mayor, the License Committee requests approval for a list of licenses dated today, November 21st, 2016. We also had a handful of new license applications as well. We've got one here from 7. It's the number 7 Flavors. They're a packaged goods company. They're going to be operating at 4350 West 129th Street. We have another company known as Dunrite. That's Dunnrite. This is going to be a transportation billing company. They're going to be at 5601 West 120th Street. Griffith Labs is now known as Griffith Foods, and their administrative services, they found the need, I guess, for a new license for their facility. Mainframe Fitness will be located at 4014 West 127th Street. This is a wellness center and performance training. We have another one for Rapid Transport Incorporated. This is inside the building at 12161 South Central. This would be Suite 204. It's a trucking firm. We have another one for Solid Signals LLC. This is a satellite installation company. They're going to be located at 4816 West 129th Street. And the last one is our new favorite is Taco Bell. It's going to be at 11732 South Pulaski, and we welcome them. That's all I have, sir.
Along with the name change of Griffith Laboratories, they put up a new pylon sign along the tollway. If you go down the tollway, it's
it was explained.
nice.
It was beautiful. It was explained to me that they changed the name from Griffith Labs to Griffith Foods for like security concerns. On top of that, they are more of a food supplemental company with spices. My grandmother worked there back in the day, forever and a day, but they said that a lot of their trucks actually were being looked at or vandalized and whatnot because people always thought when it said Griffith Labs, it wasn't the same. They felt it simplified their life just going to foods and so forth. So we always appreciate their business. Great company.
Great company, great to have them. They're in 47 countries around the world, and Alsip, Illinois is their world headquarters. So we're always glad to have them around. Economic Development, Trustee Ryan.
First, Mayor, as far as economic development, I did speak with our economic development group before this evening's meeting. We've talked a few times about trying to entice more of the businesses, existing businesses along Pulaski to participate in our TIF eligible applications to redo their facades or anything that's TIF eligible. And we did discuss at prior meetings that there was a $500 application fee that was reimbursable. And again, for many small businesses, sometimes even that's kind of hard to come up with because it's just more overhead, and they're concentrating on the bigger picture of being able to afford the participation in our TIF district. So at our next meeting, I'll certainly send it to the clerk, but I'd like to make a motion at the next meeting for the board to consider the approval to go to a no charge for a TIF eligible application, because we really want to try and help some of the smaller businesses that already exist.
Fine with me. You want to put that on the agenda for next week then?
Yes.
Next meeting?
Next meeting. And then the Mannheim Group is here this evening. This is our TIF consultant based for our Pulaski Avenue TIF. Could one of you gentlemen speak with us tonight, or both?
Microphone, please.
Good evening. Roger is here. There were some questions and asked for clarification to give you a little more formal procedures for what happens when we have a TIF property letter of intent, what that process is. And you all should have received electronically and in your packets a memo that we put together in conjunction with the other professional staff. First of all, just as a recap, everything is based back to the Hitchcock plan and the retail development plan that we put together back in the spring. Lynn Brackett is here, by the way, from C.B. Richard Ellis, and she is actually the one who's the authorized by this board and by the mayor to contact property owners to see if there's anyone interested in selling. Point 3, if there's any interest from any property owner in selling, and CBRE will contact the neighboring property owners to see if they are also interested in selling. Those properties would then be appraised by the village. Now, the objective is to assemble several properties, several parcels, in order to have the sites available to meet the criteria of targeted retail and commercial businesses that we're attempting to recruit to the business, to the village. Again, we have to have product to sell. Without a product, it's that much more difficult to recruit people. And you cannot do this on the fly. You have to have it in place, and you have to have the properties assembled, so you can meet the criteria of the targeted businesses that we discussed back with our retail development plan. Now, once the property owner or a group of property owners show interest in selling, then that's when we put together a letter of intent, which is signed and brought to the Economic Development Commission for a recommendation to accept the letter of intent and take that to the village board, but it has to go back through the committee. Now, once that letter of intent has been approved by the board, then both CBRE and the village can negotiate a sales price. There's no price negotiated, nothing is a signed deal until it all goes back through the board for approval. Point 6 is that the EDC then makes a recommendation to accept the sale price to the board. And finally, before closing, the village staff, the consultants ourselves, and the other consultants will perform all the necessary due diligence to confirm that all taxes, debts, environmental issues, and other liabilities have been settled by the current property owners. And if there are any questions or concern, the purchase will not be made by the village until everybody here is satisfied. Roger, would you have anything to add? Lynn, anybody else? I guess not. So that's the extent of this, is just a clarification of what we've been talking about, and so you have it in black and white.
And for the benefit of the public, too, especially we got a lot of students in the room here, too, what we're talking about, this is the Mannheim Group. The Mannheim Group is commissioned by the village to help stimulate our main street, which is Pulaski Avenue. A TIF, which is tax incremental financing, is monies we make available to help struggling areas like that to induce more businesses, hopefully induce more sales taxes and whatnot then too. So what we've been looking at is possibly our biggest challenge on our main street is the size of the lots. And because the lots aren't very deep it's hard to get a big box store on those lots. So in this case, what we've been trying to do is look at available properties that people may want to get rid of along that street, along that stretch, that not only can we bundle by getting a few properties together, because it makes it easier for these gentlemen and our broker to speak with these organizations as well, because you can have let's just say hypothetically, you could have a Whole Foods or something like that show up and say, listen, I'd like to use all these properties, but I don't want to deal with 4 property owners too. This is what we're trying to bundle right now. So we're not saying we're purchasing any properties, but we are evaluating those right now then too. So that's the intent right now, is we're trying to stimulate more business on our main street. And we were successful recently when we took down the certified grocers, and nonetheless, here we are 6 months or so after that, we got a Taco Bell. So it has been proven positive, but like anything else, you have to try rather than not. So that's what we're trying to do right now. Trustees, any questions or anything? Okay.
Roger, Chris, good job. Thanks much.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thanks, guys.
Is that all from Economic Development?
I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, that's all I had.
Village Properties, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills, and I have a letter from Roger Early, who's the manager of the Village Properties. I would like to ask the mayor and the board to go out for approval, to go out the bid for a 3-year landscaping contract. I would like to make sure that we are getting the best rate possible. If there's any questions or concerns, please contact Roger. That's all I have on the Village Properties.
Let me check into it, because it may be a service contract.
That's all I have.
Okay. Insurance, Trustee McGreal.
I have a presentation of the minutes from the September 19th, 2016 Insurance Committee meeting. Also, informationally, meetings for the 2017 Healthcare Overview took place last week on the 16th and 17th. Enrollment forms are due to HR no later than Friday, December 2nd, as a reminder. And Benestar Employer Services Trust Company representatives will be here at the village to discuss the new supplemental plan being provided to all Medicare-eligible retirees and their spouses, and that'll be tomorrow on the 22nd. That's all that I have.
Ordinance and Legislation, Trustee Giselle.
The request for the approval of an ordinance amending the Alsip Village Code, Chapter 15 and a half, personnel. That's all I have, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Kent Olivan pointed out to me before the meeting started, he put on your desk an ordinance that was passed earlier this year that amended Section 15.5-33.2 relating to employee and retiree health insurance plan. This updated ordinance was not online with our code service, so when we drafted the changes to the ordinance, we did not have this. So this isn't in the one that you have, but it should be. So basically, what we'd be asking to do is that when you approve that, that you also include that 15.5-33.2 remain as this was adopted. Ordinance, that it be the same as this ordinance number 2016 4-4.
Yeah, I guess the only concern that I have on there is that this one here, the 33.2, specifically deals with, and again, identifies as age 50 for public safety employees. When, as brought out before, we have to deal with the Tier 1 and Tier 2. They've amended that to age 55 for the Tier 2 level now for Article 3 and Article 4. So the same thing that you had changed on the 15 and a half has to be addressed with this.
Right.
We haven't had time to read this. Can we just add this
maybe
in later?
maybe if you can adopt everything except this section, and
Yeah,
then I can bring
set
this
for
section
the
back at
next-
the next meeting with the language.
Yeah. And that's actually the reason why this is separate. I thought that was for that purpose.
Yeah,
but-
so we could just pull that section and then adopt the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my
that
original
you
motion
get it
stands at
adopted
15 and a half,
finally.
and we'll deal with this come December 5th.
Yeah, we can have that ready for the next meeting.
Perfect.
Thank you.
December 5th.
Do you have a motion? Is there a second?
Well, actually, that's just on the request, Mayor, so on the consent, is that still fine the way it is?
No, when it comes to the consent agenda, just amend it to delete that section.
Very good.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
IT, Trustee Ryan.
The IT committee needs to have a quarterly meeting. I'd like to do it. Our IT person wasn't available tonight because I was going to try and set it for earlier tonight. I talked to Trustee McGreal just a little bit ago. Trustee Elzel, would you be available next Monday?
Sure.
Okay. Then I'll post it with the clerk's office. We're going to schedule a quarterly meeting with the IT committee next Monday, the 28th, probably at 6:30 p.m. I'll set there with the clerk's office. That's all I have, sir.
Boat launch, Trustee Ryan.
Boat launch is closed and secured at this time. Mike, is that locked down, or are they still utilizing that for anything on the canal?
Again, I was told that they were going to be using it through mid-December.
Okay.
So they go out there a couple times, depending on the weather.
Right.
Times during the week, but it's locked up each time.
Okay, so the pavilion's locked up, but the launch is available for services on the canal right now. Okay, that's all I have.
I'd like to recommend you put some no trespassing signs up on that gate. The other day, driving down the tollway, I saw some youths ducking under that gate. So if I'd had my cell phone, I'd have called the police, but I didn't have my cell phone with me. So we don't know what they were doing back there. And in light of the recent vandalism that has occurred back there, I think we need to be a little more proactive.
Okay. You got that, Mike? Okay.
Planning and zoning, Trustee Dwyer.
I have no report this evening.
Human resources, Trustee Dwyer.
I have a selection has been made for the second part of clerk's office position, and the planned start date for this new employee will be Monday, November 28th. And just a reminder that the biometric screening event is going to be held here at the village on December 6th, 7th, and 8th. Times are posted and have been emailed. Off-site lab facilities can also be utilized through the end of the year. The 2017 Safety Grant Certificate has been received from the Illinois Public Risk Fund. This year's grant award is $37,261. HR will be in contact with all department heads to begin the application process. And this is all I have under Human Resources.
Are there any presentations, petitions, or communications which we have not covered under ordinary business? Trustees, are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda?
Letter K. Do you want them?
Madam Attorney, should I just make the motion to amend on
Sure.
M as it is now? So that'd be the approval of the ordinance amending the Alsip Village Code, Chapter 15.5 Personnel, omitting 15.5-33.2, which is their retiree health insurance plan, and we'll address that on the 12/5 date.
We didn't vote on this.
We should have a second to the motion and then just do a roll call. Just on the motion
Do
to
you have a
amend.
second?
Second.
Oh, okay.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Now we're doing
Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGreal?
Yes.
Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Michaels?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
Need a motion? Sorry, you doing? Need a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Trustee Shapiro?
Yes.
Trustee McGreal?
Yes.
Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Michaels?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
You have a quorum.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Actually, I think we missed one step of adding in some of those numbers, Mayor.
Oh, yes. Add the remaining information, Madam Clerk, please.
Yes.
Okay. Item number H, listed payroll totaling $284,537.75.
That should actually be 445, 419.14, the total gross payroll.
I'm sorry. Item number I is approval of list of accounts payable totaling $1,340,750.06. Item number J is changed to December 16th. Item K has been removed. Item 11 will now be known as ordinance number 2016-11-2. Item M will be ordinance number 2016-11-3.
Actually, we're going to hold off on...
Section Oh,
Yeah, we're going to hold off on that one, please.
okay. Removed.
What? I thought you approved
You're
that
right,
one.
I apologize. You were right.
Okay.
Making me scribble.
Yep.
But except it's minus section 33.2.
Correct.
Right, yeah, thank you.
Item number N will be known as resolution number 2016-11-R-2.
Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Was there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Okay, trustee Shapiro,
Yes.
trustee McGreal.
Yes.
Trustee Dalzell,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Returning to the item removed, item K, trustee.
Just like an individual vote.
The mo-
Finance, will you make a motion?
the motion is the approval of an ordinance amending ordinance number 2016-7-2 of the Village of Alsip entitled FY 17, May 1st, 2016 to April 30th, 2017 Annual Appropriation Ordinance.
Can I just say, with amending the word Pulaski to with one, we have those words in second.
Right.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Shapiro,
Yes.
trustee McGreal,
No.
trustee Dalzell,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Was there one other? That's it? That's all of them. Okay. Any unfinished business before the board?
Point of order, Mayor. We didn't get the number for this ordinance in K.
Yes. Ordinance number for that one?
For
Okay.
For item K.
For item K, yes.
item K will be known as 2016-11-4.
Any new business before the board?
Mayor, looks like you have standing rolling tonight. Would you like to let everybody know what their protocol is once? I think you got a lot of people that are going to need signed agendas.
Yeah, we're going to
Oh.
take care of that shortly.
Let them just know what they got to do.
Yeah. Yes, for the youngsters here tonight that are here for school, you do have to have your agendas signed by the clerk. So before you leave the building, I behoove you to come up here and get it signed. Your teacher's going to want to see that, I'm sure. Sorry. So, do you have the wording for the closed session, someone?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to go to closed door session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2
That's it.
C1.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, do we have to have a roll for that?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it a roll call.
Okay. Trustee Shapiro,
Yes.
trustee McGreal,
Yes.
trustee Dalzell,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to executive session now. We will not be coming back in, we will be coming back in here to adjourn, but nothing else will be voted on this evening. Trustees, 10 minutes across the hall, please.
Now's a good time for you guys to get this stuff signed.